Alright, everybody, and welcome to the Palia beta. Today, we're checking out an MMO. That's right, a little bit different this time. So, what is Palia? Well, it's an MMO, it's a life sim, it's an RPG, and it's a very big social experience. If you are a fan of games like Stardew Valley, but you wanted the opportunity to play with others in a more MMO setting with some 3D graphics, this game might just be for you. But with that said, let's get started.
Now, where should I start?
When the game first starts, you're given the opportunity to create your character. There's a more masculine character model. Not bad. And then there's the more feminine model. You get to choose a ton of different face shapes, which is pretty cool. They all look pretty good. They did a pretty good job on the assets. Of course, you can choose your skin tone, your eyes. A lot of really cool options. I'm partial to the purple myself. And then you get to choose your voice.
Hey.
A lot of voices to choose from. Then, of course, you get to choose your hairstyle. After selecting the kind of hair you want, you're given even more options to go a little bit further in depth with your character. You can rotate, you can choose how you want your hair to look, you can put in highlights, you can choose how the highlights appear on your character, which is pretty cool. You can have it going down one side, you can have it going from the top, you can choose your eyebrow colors, all kinds of interesting stuff. Next, you get to choose whether you want glasses or no. I'm partial to glasses myself. There's a ton of starting accessories and clothing that you can choose from.
Time for you to go out into the world. I have high hopes for what you can accomplish.
After a brief cutscene, we're introduced to Gina, who acts as our main story quest NPC. Now, you can meet a ton of different NPCs in this game, and each of them will need a little bit of work to become your friend. We can now take control of our character. So, when you first start, you have nothing. It's basic MMO rules. You gotta earn your way into having some equipment. Of course, they give you the basic tutorials, running, jumping, and even climbing in this game, which is a lot of fun. There are hang gliders later on that you can get that will allow you to kind of glide from place to place. You can quickly vault up the walls, which is really cool. Just look at this game. Very pretty looking. Our first task is to go and meet some of the NPCs who will give us our starting equipment. So, arriving at the tavern, we are able to speak to our first NPC who's got a couple things to inform us of. After speaking with the NPC, we now have our first tool, a little makeshift axe, which will come in handy very soon. But our next task is to go to our new home. This place could use a little work. After having spoken to the next NPC, we're given our next tool, a pickaxe. And we have to start clearing out our brand new home. Bam. Got it. After a bit of hard work, you can in fact get yourself a nice big old house. You can buy extensions to make your house bigger. You also have the opportunity to purchase plots. This entire area is mine. I'm almost completed on having the whole plot to myself. You'll have yourself a nice big old garden, which you can tend to, very reminiscent of things like Stardew. You can make yourself fertilizers and seeds and plenty of different crafting benches where you can smelt up things like iron. And these smelters and all of these crafting benches will work while you're offline. So logging in, putting a bunch of supplies in your furnaces and stuff, and then logging out will net you some resource, which is great. There are a number of items that you can build within the game, including some little aesthetic things, camping stuff, little makeshift gear. There's a number of beds that you can get, a ton of different light sources. There's tables, there's end tables, there's cabinets, there's chairs, there's tables, there's mirrors, wardrobes, all kinds of interesting stuff. And as you travel around the world, you will of course find loot crates. And in this game, the loot crates can actually be placed on the ground, which is really cool. You do have a personal storage system, which once you manage to upgrade them, you can hold on to a lot of items. You can hold on to currently 3,200 items at maximum until you upgrade to bigger storage chests. You can have 8 on your plot at any one given time. Next, let's talk to the completionists in the chat. Look at this. If you want to sit there and collect all the things, you certainly can. There's a ton of different fish that you can gather. There's some big ones, there's some small ones, there's some tiny itty bitty ones, and then of course there's a ton of different bugs and crustaceans and flying insects that you can collect. You can collect a bunch of different types of foods. There's stoves, all kinds of crazy stuff. If you have a completionist heart, this game is something that you might want to look at. And of course, as you level, you will be able to get new tools. Right now I have mostly iron tools, and you'll be able to gain experience points towards leveling up each of your abilities, which is associated with an NPC. Completing those will get you a quest. Each one of these adds to your overall player level. There is also a focus bar, as you can see down here. Eating foods in this game, or not eating foods in this game, won't hurt you. However, if your bar has that pink stripe on it on the top left there, That means you'll gain some bonus experience wherever experience is gained. Next, let's talk about your relationship with the NPCs. So there is the opportunity, much like Stardew Valley, to romance some of the NPCs within the game. Some of them you can't, as you can see. Others you can. Eventually, they'll give you a little bit of renown, which is basically a second currency that you can use to purchase things for your house. Another thing that you get is ability to go into their rooms. They give you some special cosmetics, a bunch of different things, and eventually you can start dating some of these NPCs. Now, in order to level some of these NPCs up, they ask for weekly items. As you find these items and give them to them, you'll get a lot of experience. You can also sit there and speak with them every single day to get a little bit of experience. If you've completed your weekly gifts to them, you can just give them random items. Sometimes they'll reject the items, other times they'll absolutely love them, and it's pretty cool. I'm okay with that. The next interesting mechanic you need to focus on is your renown. So you're able to complete tasks for NPCs and you'll gain renown for doing so. There's a couple different achievements that you can get in order to unlock even more. Spending this renown will get you some extra focus, meaning extra experience points, or you can even purchase plots of land like I've been doing here, which is kind of cool. You have a reputation system within the game that actually makes a little bit of sense. The next thing I wanted to talk about, while there is bows in the game and you can choose different ammo types and things like that, there aren't any monsters in the game. You can hunt things like deer and little raccoon looking things, but that's pretty much about it. There are dungeons in the game, but they're mostly puzzles, which you'll be completing in order to advance the story. And it's not bad. It's a lot of fun. I actually have been enjoying it. I wanted to speak about how you interact with other players. So, this game is definitely for the casual at heart. You have plenty of tools within the game to gather resources. Now, let's say, for example, I've got this tree right here. I can smack this tree and chop it down. Now, if another player were to run up and start smacking this tree as well, both players would receive resources, which is great. There's actually a couple trees in the game that glow with a magical purpleness that you can't actually chop on your own. You in fact need the help of other players in order to gather these resources until you have an axe much like mine, in which case some of the trees you can chop down by yourself, but it's better to share. If you tell a lot of people within chat, usually you'll have a ton of players run up and you can all benefit from gathering this super rare resource. I would strongly suggest working with players because there's another system within the game that has you helping players. You can, in fact, rather than having a trading system in the game, request items. Such as, I don't know, I'll request some wheat. Now, players can go into this menu and see that I've requested it and give them to me. The player that fills the request will get a little bit of renown so that way they can upgrade their house and whatnot. And for the person who requested, they get a little bit of items. So there's a lot of mechanics within the game that kind of have you interacting with players. You're not forced to do any of this, obviously, although you're going to have a much easier time if you work together to accomplish your goals. Lastly, let's talk about the cash shop in the game. So there are a ton of cosmetics that you can purchase for yourself, and they are, at the moment of time of recording, all cosmetic. None of these you have to purchase, although some of them do look pretty nice. I have seen people already do so. If you wanted to take a look, here's the pricing currently for each of these, and you can do the math yourself, but I don't typically purchase cash shop items. So, with all that out the way, things could change in the future as this is an open beta, like always. However, we've moved into the pros and cons as well as the review portion. So, with that said, let's get started. So, for our first pro is the visuals. The game looks really well. I haven't had any frame rate skipping. Despite all the things that you can put down on the ground, I haven't had any lag or anything like that. On the con side of the visuals, if you have any latency issues or poor connection issues, you will occasionally see deer rubber band. This isn't too big of a deal. If the servers go down, you will have queue in order to get back into the game. But for the most part, I haven't had any login issues since the open beta started, which is great. Our next pro is the content. There's a ton here to do. From crafting, to gathering, to fishing, to working on your reputation with NPCs. There's a lot to do. Many, many hours of content. And even some of the stuff will work while you're offline, like I stated before. So, yeah, if you're definitely a casual player at heart, this game might be something you want to check out. On the con side of the content is the main story quest. So, currently in the game at time of recording, there's a story with it that has you solving some puzzles in order to enter a rune, and Gina is supposed to give you a key after the quest is completed. She doesn't do so. Now, they are working on a fix for it, and they've been putting out a ton of updates, so I'm confident it'll get fixed in the future. However, it is an issue currently. With all that said, we've come to a rating. So I would definitely give this around an 8.5. Assuming that they get the main story quest fixed soon. Considering how frequently they update, the fact that you can play right now in the open beta for nothing, there's plenty of things to do and collect. So I've had a ton of fun, despite there being no monsters to slay. And that's going to do it for us here today. Thank you so much for stopping out. I greatly appreciate you. Hopefully you'll go and check out the game for yourself. I will leave a referral code down in the description so that way you can check it out for yourself. Remember that it is in open beta, so a lot of the things could change. Don't forget to get down in the description, check out the media links, likes, follows, subs, all that fun stuff, and then take care of yourself, take care of your loved ones, stay healthy out there, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye everybody.